This technique is difficult to execute alone. It is the group cultivator combo technique of the Great Soul Sect. Currently, it is being used by disciples of the Canglong sect, seemingly to disrupt Wang Lin and prevent his departure. Wang Lin had encountered this divine ability before in the Abode realm, but none of those instances possessed the power it has now. It's important to note that his cultivation is now at a level where he can battle cultivators who have undergone several profound tribulations, yet he is still affected by this technique. This indicates its overwhelming power. However, Wang Lin's understanding of the heartbeat thunder resonance from the tomb of the ancient Tao bears similarities to this technique. With his heartbeat transformed into thunder, the heavens and earth vibrate with each thundering strike. As the resonance intensifies, it pulls the hearts of tens of thousands of Canglong sect disciples into a frenzied sync, their hearts beating wildly. In response, Wang Lin's counterattack is equally powerful, creating a balance in the clash. Though Wang Lin emerged from the Abode realm, his cultivation is far from weak, even by the standards of the immortal firmament continent. As he steps out of his cave mansion, the four grand elders of the Canglong sect simultaneously enter. In that instant, Wang Lin reaches out his right hand, grasping the emptiness of the earth. The entire land beneath Canglong sect erupts with a thunderous roar as flames surge from beneath the ground. These flames burst from the formation within the cave mansion with an intensity even greater than before. The technique Wang Lin employs is something he learned in the Abode realm, similar to the method of extracting the soul of a mountain or star. This time, he pulls the soul of the Earthfire branch vein. The Heavenly Bull continent contains a massive Earthfire vein, its branches many and complex, resembling a grand formation that seals something unknown. With his current cultivation, Wang Lin cannot extract the soul of the main Earthfire vein, but under his grasp, the Earthfire branch vein beneath the Canglong sect's mountains erupts in a cataclysmic roar. Amidst the eruption and the fiery explosion, the faces of tens of thousands of cultivators outside the cave mansion change drastically. The four grand elders, who had just rushed into the cave, show a moment of terror. They witness, with their own eyes, a massive dragon's head, larger than a mountain, emerging from the earth beneath Wang Lin, who is surrounded by flames. This is not just any fire dragon. It is the soul of the Earthfire branch vein. Standing atop the dragon's head is a man, his white hair flowing, his eyes as bright as stars. On his back is a coffin. He stands there like a deity at the peak of the world. From him radiates an overwhelming aura, one of dominance and supremacy, especially with the fiery light that surrounds him, making it almost impossible to gaze directly upon him. At that moment, the muttering of tens of thousands of cultivators halts. A tremor of fear from their very souls spreads throughout their hearts. It is as though this man atop the fire dragon is like the 9 suns, leaving everyone with nothing but trembling minds and terror in their hearts. Such a person, such a presence, such a fire dragon. Human strength seems unable to oppose them. The four grand elders are forced to retreat. The shockwave from the mountains collapse, and the eruption of the Earthfire branch vein soul is too powerful for them to withstand, and they are left no choice but to pull back. Despite their considerable strength, in the face of Wang Lin and the Earthfire branch vein soul, they are as insignificant as ants. This is Wang Lin. In the Abode realm, he is the ultimate seal sovereign, standing at the pinnacle of the world. Even though he has just entered the immortal firmament continent, his presence remains as imposing as ever. Though this all seems slow, it happens in just a few breaths. Standing atop the dragon soul formed from the Earthfire vein, with a thought from Wang Lin, the fire dragon roars skyward. The roar shakes the heavens, causing the cultivators in the sky to spew blood, tumbling back in fear, parting to make way for him. The fire dragon leaps, its body transforming, carrying Wang Lin as it ascends toward the sky. We can't let him leave. The ancestor is on his way back, just a moment away. We only need to hold him for a short time. A middle-aged man, pale-faced, cries out in a hoarse voice, charging straight toward Wang Lin. The remaining 3, including the white-haired elder, gritted their teeth and charged out without hesitation. Despite their shock, they were more terrified of the ancestor's wrath. If the ancestor was enraged, Even if they were at the void nirvana cultivation level, they wouldn't be able to withstand it. Especially now, with the Canglong sect almost destroyed, they could only imagine the fury the ancestor would unleash upon returning. The four rushed forward once more, transforming into 4 streaks of rainbow light, heading straight for Wang Lin, determined to block his escape. Wang Lin remained calm. The moment the 4 approached, his body flickered and immediately merged with the fire dragon beneath him, becoming one with it. As the dragon's soul roared, it shot into the sky, indifferent to the obstruction posed by the 4. The middle-aged man was the fastest, appearing before the fire dragon in an instant. His hands formed seals, pressing down on the charging dragon, his face contorted, veins bulging as he let out a deafening growl. Next, the white-haired elder appeared behind the middle-aged man. He bit his tongue, spraying blood forward as he struck out with both hands. The blood transformed into a massive blood mist, within which malevolent spirits seemed to swirl, blocking the fire dragon's path. The man and woman, transformed into 2 giant dragons, arrived at the same time, sealing off all escape routes. A firefly dares to compete with the bright moon. A cold voice echoed through the fire dragon's roar as it hurtled towards the middle-aged man. The impact created a thunderous sound that shook the heavens and earth. The middle-aged man was enveloped by an immense cloud of steam, which quickly evaporated. His hair ignited, and his skin was marked with scorching flames. The heat not only burned his body, but also attacked his essence, spirit, and soul. This wasn't ordinary fire, it was Earthfire Vein Soul. An Earthfire branch Vein Soul's power was beyond his ability to resist. Let alone Wang Lin's overwhelming cultivation, combined with the Earthfire Vein Soul, which exploded with even greater force. The middle-aged man couldn't even last a moment. He felt as though he was inside a furnace, and if he didn't retreat now, he would be burned to ashes. The fear of death at this moment surpassed even his terror of the ancestor. Without a second thought, he coughed up blood and staggered back dozens of feet, spitting out more blood as he fled madly. His arms, the first to make contact with the fire dragon, were burned the most. As he retreated, the wind blew, and his arms were instantly reduced to ash. The blood mist formed by the white-haired elder's essence collapsed with the fire dragon's collision, his body convulsing with loud cracks. His flesh shattered in an instant, and his soul screamed in terror, rapidly retreating. He dared not stop it any longer. The 2 elders, transformed into dragons, were also swept away by the fire dragon. Their bodies collapsed, blood spraying from their mouths as they exploded, just like the white-haired elder. Their souls fled, carrying a fear they would never forget, as they retreated together. The 4 couldn't even stop Wang Lin and the fire dragon for a moment. After a single clash, they were all gravely wounded. Thousands of Canglong sect disciples watched in stunned silence, the scene eerily quiet. The fire dragon ascended into the sky, and Wang Lin, his figure blurring, stood on the dragon's head. Looking down at the wreckage below, he coldly spoke. I, Wang, did not kill anyone. The disaster today was caused by your sect trying to turn me into a puppet. You, all of you, beware. With those chilling words, Wang Lin stepped onto the Earthfire branch dragon soul, rising farther and farther into the heavens, until he disappeared from sight. One man's power was enough to halt an entire sect's progress by a single step. This strength, this momentum, left an indelible mark on the hearts of Canglong sect's disciples. This battle would ensure Wang Lin's name would echo throughout the heavenly bull continent. An incense stick's worth of time later, as the 3 elders lost their bodies and only their souls remained, and the middle-aged man, trembling, was armless, an earth-shattering roar echoed from another direction. The roar caused the world to tremble, and the flames on the ground suddenly froze, extinguishing in an instant, turning into thick black smoke that billowed into the air. This roar shook the 4 elders to their core. Looking up, they saw 2 streaks of rainbow light cutting through the sky, one of which seemed to tear apart the very fabric of the heavens. Inside one of the rainbows was a figure, a young man with red lips and white teeth, his eyebrows sharp, his eyes bright like stars. He should have been handsome, but now his expression was twisted with rage, his anger radiating from every inch of him. He moved too fast. Although he appeared far away, in the blink of an eye, He was already above the Canglong sect, looking down at the ruin below. The young man fell silent. His silence filled the four elders with immense pressure and fear. At that moment, another streak of rainbow light shot toward them, transforming into a woman. She was a picture of beauty, almost otherworldly, but when she saw the ruins below, her face changed drastically. Without hesitation, she distanced herself from the young man. "No one has ever dared to destroy my Duqing's sect," the young man shouted in a roar that shook the heavens. At his roar, the sky thundered, and vast clouds were torn apart and shattered. A large amount of black smoke shot into the air, swirling in all directions with a deafening crash. "No one has ever dared to do this. Destroy my sect, kill my disciples. No matter who you are, you're as good as dead. In the heavenly bull continent, you're as good as dead. I'll catch you, tear you apart, make you suffer for 10,000 years, and have you regret ever cultivating." The young man roared, and a terrifying aura erupted from his body. This aura swept outwards, and in an instant, all the disciples closest to him, several thousand, didn't even have time to scream before they were struck, shattered, and died. "I will kill you." The young man suddenly turned around, raised his right hand, and grabbed towards his disciples. A young man, filled with fear, was immediately seized from a distance and slammed to the ground. His overwhelming divine sense surged into the disciple's mind, forcefully performing a soul search, completely disregarding that the young man was one of his own sect members. The disciple let out a horrified scream, his body trembled, and he instantly died, his body exploding into a bloody mist. The desired memory was obtained, and the image of Wang Lin appeared clearly in the young man's mind. "Ancestor. That person claims to be surnamed Wang. He says he didn't kill any of our sect members, and the destruction of the mountain gate was because someone was trying to turn him into a puppet." The elder who had lost his physical body, a former dragon, spoke with a tremor in his voice. Upon hearing this, a middle-aged man, who had lost both arms, immediately shuddered and sighed inwardly. Sun Mingda hasn't been in Canglong sect long and doesn't understand the ancestor's personality. The ancestor doesn't care about the life or death of his disciples. What he cares about is face. As soon as the elder's words left his mouth, the young man suddenly turned around, his eyes flashing with a brutal light as he stared at the elder surnamed Sunday. "The thousands of disciples who just died were killed by him. And you, as an elder, should have self-destructed your soul to stop this, but you didn't do that. I'll turn you into wood and seal you for 100 years as punishment." The young man's right hand shot out, grabbing at the elder surnamed Sunday. The elder, horrified, attempted to retreat, but his body trembled and he had no resistance. The young man seized him effortlessly. The young man seemed to use some kind of supernatural power. His body flashed with gray light and merged into the elder's divine soul. In an instant, the elder let out a miserable scream, and his divine soul blurred, turning into wood. Releasing his grip, the wooden elder's body fell to the ground, and the ground suddenly formed a vortex, swallowing him whole. The scene made the surrounding disciples of Canglong sect tremble in fear, too scared to speak. "Mobilize the entire sect. Find this person. I give you 3 months. If you can't find him in 3 months, you'll all die. Announce it to the entire heavenly bull continent. Anyone who shelters this person will bear the consequences. Let's set Canglong sect aside for now." Wang Lin was speeding through the sky of a mortal firmament continent. His divine sense spread out as he slowly adapted to the unfamiliar world. With my cultivation, if I were to spread my divine sense in the cave mansion realm, it would cover most of the area. But here, it's being suppressed by an invisible law, reducing my coverage to half of what it was in the cave mansion realm. This isn't something unique to me. It must be the same for everyone here. Wang Lin judged this based on the time it took for the Canglong sect ancestor to rush back. Even if someone had cultivation as high as Qi or War Ghost, reaching the early void tribulation stage, they still didn't make it back in time. Clearly, they couldn't use shrinking earth technique either. Wang Lin frowned as he quickly continued forward, realizing something. The heavens and earth of the cave mansion realm and those of this immortal firmament continent looked similar, but were fundamentally different. The cave mansion is fake, but this place is real. He could merge with the heavens and earth in the cave mansion realm, but couldn't merge with the heavens and earth of a mortal firmament continent, making the shrinking earth technique useless. There should be a way to do it, but it would require a higher level of cultivation. Wang Lin muttered to himself, his eyes filled with thought. Upon arriving here, everything was strange to him. Luckily, by searching through Kong Ren's memories, he didn't know everything, but he had learned quite a bit about the Heavenly Bull Continent. This is the Heavenly Bull Continent in the eastern province of the Immortal Firmament Continent, within the realm of the Immortal Clan. The Unity Sect and the Great Soul Sect are the two strongest sects on the Heavenly Bull Continent, and also among the 9 sects and 13 schools. Wang Lin's expression was somewhat complicated. He was no stranger to these two sections. The Great Soul Sect, the sect of Fan Shanming and Fan Shanlu, a sect that possesses terrifying divine abilities, including the illusion techniques, and Yunifeng, whose memories were inside Kong Ren's mind. This person has now become the genius of the Unity Sect. Sigh, I came too late. I'm sure my master thought I had perished and stopped waiting for me. Wang Lin sighed inwardly, but what comforted him was that the Heavenly Bull Continent was where the 7-colored Immortal Venerables 7 Paths sect was located. This Heavenly Bull Continent is vast, nearly as large as dozens of cave mansion realms. Without the shrinking earth technique, traveling by my own cultivation is too slow. Not to mention that from here to the ancient kingdom in the 36th province of the Immortal Firmament Continent, even if I hurry with all my strength, it would still take several hundred years. Wang Lin furrowed his brow. The Immortal Firmament Continent was simply too vast. Forget it. No matter what, I must go to the original site of the 7 Paths sect. If my master is not there, I promised him I would go to the Tao ancient lineage. Even if it takes more time, I must go there. This is a long-term goal. Before that, I must visit the Donglin sect. No matter what method I use, I must enter the Donglin pool. Wang Lin thought of the profound mysteries of the Donglin pool, and his heart immediately surged with excitement. However, before that, I need to solve the issue of my storage space. I wonder how those two, the madman and the silver-clad woman, are doing. Wang Lin knew that they both possessed the immortal ascension bloodline. Even if the storage space shattered, they wouldn't face any mishaps. Lost in thought, he soared through the sky, heading towards the distance. Flying solely on his cultivation, even Wang Lin, after a long time, began to feel the strain. Plus, the mosquito beast's appearance was too distinctive, and it would be inconvenient to summon it here. Half a month later, a vast mountain range appeared before Wang Lin. The range stretched endlessly, with no visible boundary. Roughly estimated, there must be tens of thousands of peaks. The Heavenly Bull Continent was filled with mountains, a fact Wang Lin had learned from Kong Ren's memories and had witnessed firsthand over the past half-month. This place is good. Wang Lin's eyes flickered, and he immediately headed towards a very ordinary peak in the middle of the range. In an instant, he entered the peak, and with a slight movement, he entered the heart of the mountain. With a flick of his sleeve, the interior of the mountain instantly disappeared, transforming into a vast cave mansion, where Wang Lin temporarily secluded himself. Sitting cross-legged inside the mountain, Wang Lin formed seals with his hands. A series of restrictive formations materialized, spreading around him and imprinted into the mountain's body. He couldn't take out magical artifacts for now, so he had to rely on the formations to conceal his presence. After sealing the mountain and setting up some defenses, Wang Lin didn't put down the heavenly protective coffin on his back. He kept it there at all times. The Immortal Firmament Continent was not like the Cave Mansion realms. There were many powerful beings, and Wang Lin had to remain vigilant against any accidents. Only with the coffin on his back did he feel at ease. Kong Ren also had a storage space, but unlike those in the Cave Mansion realm, his storage space was open from his own body. This way, there were no restrictions, and he could take out items anywhere. This method is quite ingenious, though I have seen it before. Some immortals from the Cave Mansion realm used this method. They came from the 7 Paths sect, and their technique was the same. I should have been prepared for this back then. Wang Lin shook his head inwardly. Despite his high intellect, he couldn't foresee everything, and there were still many things he overlooked. Sitting cross-legged, Wang Lin raised his right hand, hesitating. He was unsure what the consequences would be of opening his storage space. My storage space was opened in the cave mansion realm. I can open it in the void layer, but it will be interfered with, as the void layer still connects to the cave mansion realm. But what about here in the immortal firmament continent? Wang Lin's head ached as he pondered, then suddenly waved his right hand. A crack materialized in front of him, but just as it appeared, before he could take out anything, the crack instantly collapsed and dissipated into sparkling light. Wang Lin's expression remained calm, but his eyes flickered. He had already suspected this would happen. The storage crack he opened was specifically created to hold miscellaneous items, and, even if it dissipated, he wouldn't feel much loss. With this experiment, he confirmed that his suspicion was correct. It seems not all items will collapse. Some will be damaged, but not severely. They will just dissipate and vanish somewhere. Wang Lin thought deeply. The blood sword must be retrieved, and the golden seal, which was solidified by my master's divine ability. This item has the power of an early-stage void tribulation cultivator strike, which will be very useful to me now. Also, the Kunji whip, which specializes in targeting the soul. If it were to disappear in the collapsing storage space, it would be a pity. The EC puppet is comparable to the void cataclysm, and that ghost face sail. The two typos have been corrected. One where Sect Master was changed to Ancestor, and the other where War Ghost was changed to Palm Sovereign. Mistakes, kind of wrote in a daze and didn't notice them myself. As Wang Lin hesitated, within the Heavenly Bull continent, the Canglong sect was set ablaze by a mysterious cultivator with the surname Wang, triggering the Earthfire branch vein soul. It swept through tens of thousands of cultivators, severely injuring the 4 elders of Canglong sect, destroying the bodies of 3 and severing the arms of 1. This news spread like a wildfire. The Canglong sect was furious and dispatched all their disciples in a frenzied search. The incident also became a subject of mockery. Most sects disliked Canglong sect, but due to Du Qing's cultivation level and the backing of the Great Soul sect, they were forced to yield. Now, seeing the heavy losses to Canglong sect, with thousands of disciples killed and the 4 elders severely injured, many couldn't help but secretly rejoice. As for cooperating in the search for the mysterious person, most sects were merely going through the motions. However, some sects fully cooperated, conducting extensive searches for Wang Lin's hiding place. The Heavenly Bull continent was vast, and despite such an explosive incident, the news only spread within a limited region and didn't reach too far. Large sects like the Unity sect and the Great Soul sect rarely paid attention to such matters. Days passed, but no clues emerged. Du Qing, the ancestor of Canglong sect, grew increasingly enraged. He decided to go out personally, expanding his divine sense to sweep the surroundings, yet he still found nothing. After all, the Heavenly Bull continent was too large. If someone wanted to hide, it would be like searching for a needle in a vast ocean. The mountain where Wang Lin was hiding was also swept by Canglong sect disciples using their divine sense, but due to the great distance and Wang Lin's exceptional prohibitions, no trace of him was found. Unless Du Qing himself came to personally inspect the area, no one would be able to find any clues. Even then, with no knowledge of Wang Lin's specific location, the likelihood of Du Qing coming here in person was slim. As time passed, the Canglong sect's search grew even more intense, becoming tighter and more thorough. Wang Lin, while thinking about how to open his storage space and retrieve his magical artifacts, also sensed this change. In the month that followed, Wang Lin not only pondered the issue of his storage space, but also absorbed the celestial energy of the immortal astral continent to nourish his body while investigating the differences between his own origin and the origin here. Gradually, he started to notice some changes. The void origin remained unchanged, whether in the abode realm or on the immortal astral continent, since it was born from his own understanding of the world, a source unique to him. However, the material origin had shifted, similar to the changes in fire origin. Thunder, fire, and even the lesser water origin showed such differences, while the slaughter and seal origins, though altered, didn't change much. It's almost time. I can't hesitate any longer. One day, while meditating in his cave, Wang Lin opened his eyes, a determined glint in them. He was not one to be indecisive. If it weren't for the importance of the storage space, he wouldn't have hesitated for so long. But now, he needed to make a decision. Even if I destroy it, I must open it and take out some items. Most of them are external items. If I can accumulate them, I can also acquire new magical artifacts here on the immortal astral continent. If I act quickly, perhaps the storage space won't collapse completely. Once resolved, Wang Lin no longer hesitated. His cultivation erupted, focusing all his energy within the cave, preventing it from leaking out. As the energy waves intensified, a distortion appeared around him. The distortion rippled like water, slowly circulating, causing the surrounding atmosphere to feel as though it were solidifying. Although this solidification wasn't complete, it was enough to slow the flow of energy within the space. With his full aura spread out, it felt as though the cave had turned into stagnant mud. This method might delay the collapse of the storage space. What Wang Lin needed now was time. Once his aura fully expanded and everything around him slowed, Wang Lin took a deep breath. His eyes shone brightly as he raised his left hand, making a gesture with his fingers, and the immobilization technique spread from his fingertip. Then he raised his right hand and, with a clenched jaw, made a forceful grab into the empty space ahead. He had used this move countless times before, but never had it felt so intense. As his hand grasped, a crack appeared in front of him. The crack was none other than the entrance to Wang Lin's storage space. At the same moment the crack appeared, Wang Lin immediately pointed at it with his left hand, sending the immobilization technique into the fissure without hesitation. After countless uses and insights, the immobilization technique had evolved. It could now freeze not only people, but time, space, and even divine abilities and magical artifacts. But Wang Lin didn't know if he could stabilize the collapse of the storage space that had been brought from the abode realm to the immortal firmament continent. The moment the crack in the storage appeared, a dim light radiated from it, and immediately signs of fragmentation began to appear. However, within the thick, stagnant aura surrounding it, the speed was a little slower. Coupled with the use of a fixation technique, the collapse of the crack suddenly slowed down. But that brief pause was all it took before the collapse became intense. Wang Lin's mind was highly concentrated. Almost the instant the storage crack opened, his divine sense frantically surged into it. With a sudden roll, he tried to pull out all the items within. But that brief pause didn't give Wang Lin enough time to take everything. He watched helplessly as the storage space cracked open with countless fissures. The madman and the silver-clad woman, being so close to the fissures, were directly sucked in and disappeared. Some magical artifacts shattered, and others, though not shattered, were devoured by the cracks. All of this happened in an instant, and Wang Lin couldn't stop it. He didn't even have time to see what he had managed to pull in before his divine sense split into several parts, scattering through the cracks in the storage space, leaving imprints on the vanishing magical artifacts. After completing this, he immediately focused his thoughts, and the storage space, which hadn't fully collapsed, suddenly vanished in front of him. He sealed it off to prevent further collapse. In the span of that brief moment, Wang Lin was drenched in sweat. His breathing was rapid, his eyes bloodshot, and he stared silently ahead. Before him floated a blood sword and a large golden seal. The blood sword exuded a murderous aura, and the golden seal emitted a wave of void cataclysm, along with a trace of the grand heavenly venerable's presence, as if proving that this item had been solidified from the void by the 9 suns using their divine abilities. Some unimportant magical artifacts have collapsed. It doesn't matter, they've shattered. But there are still 3 magical artifacts that didn't collapse and were sucked into the crack. Thankfully, I was prepared and left my divine sense imprint on them. Perhaps one day, I can retrieve them. The madman and the silver-clad woman sigh. Wang Lin sighed deeply. He had done all he could. The storage space should still be able to be opened a few more times, but each time it opens, the collapse will become more severe, eventually leading to complete destruction. EC Puppet is still inside. I just noticed it wasn't sucked away. Wang Lin took a deep breath, dispersing the surrounding stagnant aura, slowly returning the abode to normal. Looking at the blood sword and golden seal in front of him, Wang Lin's eyes flashed. He raised his right hand, and following the method he learned from Canglong to create internal storage spaces in the immortal firmament continent. A crack appeared on his right wrist. Inside the crack was pitch black, exuding a sucking force. After pulling the blood sword and golden seal into the crack, it vanished from his wrist, opening a storage space with the body's bloodline. This method can only be perfectly done by people from the immortal firmament continent. Wang Lin muttered, a flash of blood light appearing in his right hand. The blood sword appeared, then vanished, and golden light spread as the golden seal reappeared. After doing this several times, Wang Lin gradually became familiar with the technique. He ensured that, during magical combat, he wouldn't subconsciously open the storage crack, which could cause an irreversible collapse and error. Only then did he feel at ease. Even if I lost a few magical artifacts, so what? In the immortal firmament continent, I can obtain more. Wang Lin raised his head, his gaze seemingly able to pierce the abode and see the darkened sky outside. Greedy Wolf should also be in the immortal firmament continent. As long as he's here, I will never lack magical artifacts. I just need to encounter him, and many problems will be solved. Greedy Wolf, I look forward to our first reunion in the immortal firmament continent. A smile appeared at the corner of Wang Lin's mouth. However, Greedy Wolf is also quite strange. He's one of the 7 colored souls, but why doesn't he need to reincarnate like Qing Shui to leave the abode realm? Even with the Grand Heavenly Venerable's help, Xian Luo also made a move. This matter is truly puzzling. This question had been on Wang Lin's mind for a long time, but he couldn't find an answer. Forget it. Perhaps I'll learn the answer when I meet Greedy Wolf. There's no use thinking too much now. I should focus on solving the issues of Earthfire and my fire origin. That ancestor Du Qing of the Canglong Sect is no weakling. If he comes after me, there will definitely be a fierce battle. I came to the immortal firmament continent intending to avoid trouble, but now it seems I may need to act more publicly to establish a foothold. A cold gleam appeared in Wang Lin's eyes. At this moment, in the imperial city of the Immortal Clan's central plains on the immortal firmament continent, inside a magnificent hall that spanned tens of thousands of zhang, resembling a heavenly palace, golden light blazed from the hall. Even from a distance, the dazzling light could be seen. In the great hall, on a massive dragon throne sat a middle-aged man dressed in a 9 dragons imperial robe. His eyes were closed, seemingly in a light doze, but suddenly, he opened them. His pupils shone like the sun, radiating a bloodline aura of the highest nobility, and an immense, unimaginable pressure instantly spread out from his body. The National Master once calculated that Dao Fei's disappearance poses no danger to his life, and rather, it will lead to fortuitous circumstances. Now that his aura has appeared in the divine burial void, we should bring him back. There's a woman beside him. The middle-aged man in the imperial robe's gaze flickered, and with a wave of his right hand, he grabbed towards the void in front of him. A strange howling sound echoed throughout the hall, and slowly, 2 blurry figures began to materialize in the vortex. The imperial-robed man reached out and pulled them out. The unconscious man and woman were none other than the madman and the silver-clad woman. The middle-aged man in the imperial robe ignored the silver-clad woman, instead focusing his attention on the madman. His brows furrowed as he stepped forward. As he moved, the madman's body floated unnaturally in the air, and with his right hand, the imperial-robed man pressed it firmly against the madman's chest. A tremendous celestial force surged into the madman's body, causing loud bangs to echo like thunder throughout the hall. The overwhelming celestial energy raged through the madman's body, sweeping through his blocked meridians, awakening his bloodline power. Yet, the madman remained unconscious, showing no sign of waking. The middle-aged man in the imperial robe frowned, and with a flick of his sleeve, a massive solar phantom appeared behind him. As the phantom enveloped the hall, it spread out, filling the skies and earth. Even from a great distance, one could see a golden sun shining in the sky above the imperial palace, radiating endless light. Dao Fei, wake up! With a wave of his right hand, the imperial-robed man pressed his palm against the madman's chest again, and a golden celestial energy rushed into the madman's body, heading straight for his head. In an instant, it cleared the blocked meridians and blood vessels in his head. As the blockages cleared, decades of accumulated stagnant energy were forcefully dispersed. Brother. At that moment, the madman's complexion flushed. He suddenly opened his eyes, letting out a joyful cry, but then coughed up a mouthful of blood and fell unconscious once more. The middle-aged man in the imperial robe's brows slowly unfurled, and the solar phantom behind him gradually faded. Send Prince Dao Fei to rest. This woman should be sent along as well. His authoritative voice echoed through the hall, and immediately, 2 golden wisps of smoke swirled around, materializing into 2 women. After bowing respectfully to the man in the imperial robe, they assisted the unconscious madman and silver-clad woman, swiftly leaving the hall. Dao Fei has been missing for many years. I wonder what has happened to him. He's injured so severely, and his bloodline power seems to have diminished as well. When he wakes, I'll have to ask him clearly. The man in the imperial robe sat back on the dragon throne, his expression thoughtful as he slowly closed his eyes. Meanwhile, on the mountain peak where Wang Lin was in seclusion, inside the cave mansion created by his divine abilities, he sat cross-legged. As he practiced his breathing techniques, his hands formed seals, and the entire space around him filled with a sea of flames. Amidst the raging flames, a massive vermilion bird slowly took shape behind Wang Lin, swirling around him and making the sea of flames even fiercer. The coffin he had carried with him from the immortal astral law continent, which he had used to avoid the heavens, was already stored in the internal storage dimension he had created. With his hands forming seals, the flames around his body immediately twisted and split into 7 strands, resembling 7 fire dragons that rushed toward his left eye. In an instant, they were absorbed by his left eye, where they formed a fire-shaped sigil. The sigil flickered in the pitch-black cave mansion, its glow standing out starkly against the surrounding darkness. My flame origin has solidified, and it's even denser than when I was in the abode realm. But here, on the immortal astral law continent, it clashes with the Earthfire of this heavenly bull continent. The 2 flames must establish a master-servant relationship. Otherwise, when facing ordinary enemies, it's manageable. But if I encounter someone else who also wields a fire origin, they will notice the discrepancy right away, and the Earthfire here is completely different from mine, which is somewhat disadvantageous. Wang Lin had been on the immortal astral law continent for over a month now, and he had begun to feel the many differences. Take the flame origin, for example. In the abode realm, he could control all flames in the world, as though he were the emperor of flames. He never had to worry about depleting his flame origin because it could be replenished in an instant with a single breath. But here, on the immortal astral law continent, things were different. Not only was he an outsider, but even his flame origin was foreign. It was extremely difficult to replenish the flame power in large quantities here. In such a situation, during a magical combat, if he encounters someone weaker than him, there is no issue. However, if he faces a stronger opponent, it could even be deadly. At Canglong Sect, Wang Lin was able to extract the Earthfire branch vein soul, appearing calm, but in reality, it was not that simple. For him, he could have chosen not to extract the Earthfire soul and still leave Canglong Sect, but he did so to test the degree of repulsion of the local Earthfire. The repulsive force was extremely strong. After Wang Lin forcibly controlled it, once he left Canglong Sect, the Earthfire soul attempted to backfire. He suppressed it before it finally merged into the earth and disappeared. The repulsive force of the Earthfire here is intense. Since the flames of immortal astral law on this continent do not acknowledge me, I don't need to make them accept me. Suppressing and merging it to strengthen myself is the way. Wang Lin's eyes gleamed coldly. With a snort, he closed his eyes, his divine sense merging into his left eye, transforming into a flame vermilion bird that shot out from his left eye. This flame vermilion bird was formed from Wang Lin's divine sense. In the high-temperature environment of his cave mansion, it darted toward the ground, disappearing into the depths of the earth. The entire heavenly bull continent was permeated by Earthfire branch veins, with surging Earthfire beneath each mountain. As soon as Wang Lin's divine sense entered the earth, he immediately felt a searing heat spreading toward him. This heat was extremely harmful to his divine sense, but for Wang Lin, it posed no threat. The vermilion bird he had transformed into sped downward, and wherever it passed, hot waves spread from its body, opposing the Earthfire. Since it was his divine sense entering the earth, the experience was different from that of his physical body. From Wang Lin's perspective, there was no soil, only sparks of fire, as though he had entered a world of flames. As he delved deeper, a roaring sound came from afar. This roar was inaudible to the naked ear, but his divine sense clearly felt it. As the roar echoed, the heat waves intensifying in his direction. The high temperature within these waves seemed capable of melting any magical artifact and incinerating all living beings and their divine senses. Wang Lin's eyes flashed with cold light. This roar was more of a challenge, a collision and explosion between two different flames upon meeting. As the roar echoed, the vermilion bird Wang Lin had transformed into also let out a sharp screech. This screech was the cry of the vermilion bird, like a sharp sword cutting through the underground world of flames, heading straight toward the source of the roar. Wang Lin moved incredibly fast, and with every passing moment, he shot through endless distances, arriving at the very origin of the roar. There, coiled a fire dragon, thousands of feet long, glowing with a crimson light, exuding an aggressive aura. The fire dragon locked its massive eyes on the vermilion bird and, upon its arrival, roared once more. This scene was astonishing. Deep within the earth, a dragon and a vermilion bird faced each other, their roars and screeches intertwining in a fiery battle of devouring flames. If one were to scan this scene with divine sense, this was what they would see. However, if someone were to physically observe, they would only see a vast, sprawling fire vein, red as crimson, emanating immense heat, hidden deep beneath the earth. This enormous fire vein was the very fire dragon that roared at Wang Lin. This fire dragon was the soul of the Earthfire branch vein. Similarly, if one were to look at the vermilion bird Wang Lin had transformed into, it too would be invisible. Instead, they would see a type of fire completely different from this place, an incongruous flame. In this world, there is only one word, fire. Other words like flame or blaze can represent fire at times, but they can never, in written form, replace the word fire. Fire is dominant. It cannot coexist. It must merge as one. As the fire dragon roared, it leapt forward, and the surrounding sea of fire rapidly expanded around its body, enveloping it and charging toward the vermilion bird. It opened its massive mouth, aiming to swallow it whole. Wang Lin's vermilion bird's gaze flickered, showing no sign of retreating. This mere soul of an Earthfire branch vein had no right to make him back down. With a loud screech, the vermilion bird rushed forward, darting straight into the dragon's open mouth. This world's fire shall obey my command. All fire must bow to me, Wang Lin. Even the flames of immortal astral law must do the same. Wang Lin's divine sense resonated with the domineering force of fire, echoing deep within the earth. The moment the fire dragon swallowed the vermilion bird, it immediately showed signs of pain. Its body twisted, and waves of fire erupted from its form, slowly morphing into the closed-eye phantom of the vermilion bird. This phantom was enormous, enveloping the fire dragon, and as it became clearer, it continued to absorb the flames emitted from the fire dragon's body. As it grew stronger, the fire dragon's roar weakened, but its twisting and struggling intensified. On the ground, within the vast mountain range where Wang Lin was located, the earth trembled violently. Thunderous rumbles echoed in all directions, and as the ground heaved, enormous cracks appeared, with blasts of earth fire erupting from them, burning everything in sight. However, this process did not last long. After a single incense stick's worth of time, the earth fire that had surged from the ground quickly retracted, vanishing without a trace along the cracks. Deep beneath the earth, the struggling fire dragon slowly came to a halt, its body eventually concealed by a distinct vermilion bird that appeared around it. The vermilion bird suddenly opened its eyes, revealing a chilling glow. By absorbing the soul of a branch vein of earth fire, my fire origin has actually grown so much. With a flicker, the vermilion bird transformed into a sea of flames, soaring upwards toward the surface. It appeared instantly in Wang Lin's meditation cave, rushing straight into his left eye. Wang Lin's body trembled. His essence spirit entered his body, and he opened his eyes. This is an incredibly rare boost for me. Wang Lin lowered his gaze, his eyes gleaming with an unusual light.